I've come across something that made me pause and think something so simple yet powerful that it could change the way we look at our everyday meals. You know, in my many years, I've learned that sometimes the smallest choices in our kitchens can have a big impact on our well-being. I was chatting with an old friend who happens to be a doctor, and he mentioned a few combinations in our diet that we might not be giving enough thought. One of those was about cucumbers, those cool, crisp vegetables we often toss into our salad sand, how mixing them with certain other foods can lead to discomfort and even rob our bodies of some of their natural benefits. Before we get further, I'd like to know where you're joining us from. And if you get any value from these videos, a like and subscribe would mean a lot. Today, I want to share a piece of advice that might seem unusual at first, but comes from years of experience and careful observation. You see, as we age, our digestive systems tend to become more sensitive, and sometimes the food combinations that we never thought twice about in our younger years can actually cause us trouble. This is one of those moments where a little extra care in our diet can make a noticeable difference in how we feel day to day. Now, let's talk about cucumbers. They're one of those foods that many of us have enjoyed for as long as we can remember, simple, refreshing, and easy to add to almost any meal. But over the years, I've learned that not everything that's healthy on its own remains so when paired with the wrong foods. A trusted doctor once explained to me that there are 3 specific foods that you should avoid mixing with cucumbers if you want to keep your stomach happy and your body running smoothly. It might sound odd, but these small details can sometimes have a ripple effect on our overall health. The first food on that list is tomatoes. Now, tomatoes are wonderful on their own and add a burst of flavor to many dishes. However, when you mix tomatoes with cucumbers, there's a chance that the natural acids in the tomato might interfere with the way your stomach handles the cool, watery nature of the cucumber. I remember my grandmother always saying that some food combinations were like trying to mix oil with water. They just don't sit well together. While tomatoes are nutritious and packed with vitamins, the combination with cucumbers can sometimes lead to a feeling of bloating or mild discomfort, especially for those of us who might have a more sensitive digestive system as we grow older. The second food is dairy, and I know many of us enjoy a refreshing glass of milk or a bowl of yogurt with our meals. Dairy has its own set of benefits, like providing calcium and protein, but when dairy is combined with cucumbers, it can be tricky. The doctor explained that the enzymes required to digest dairy might clash with the enzymes that help process cucumbers. This could slow down digestion or even cause a bit of an upset stomach for some people. I've seen plenty of friends mention that after a meal where they mixed these two, they felt a bit off, something that might not bother us when we're young. But as we get older, our bodies become more particular about how foods interact. The third food on the list is onions. Now, onions add a lot of flavor and depth to our cooking, and they're a staple in many kitchens. But when combined with cucumbers, their strong nature can overpower the gentle qualities of the cucumber. The doctor mentioned that onions have certain sulfur compounds that, when mixed with the enzymes in cucumbers, might not sit well together. This isn't to say that onions are bad, far from it, but for seniors who are trying to keep things light and gentle on their stomach, it might be wise to keep these two apart. Think of it like a dance. Each ingredient has its own rhythm, and sometimes forcing them together can lead to a misstep. Over the years, I've come to appreciate that our bodies have a natural wisdom, a kind of inner guidance that tells us what works best. When I was younger, I never paid much attention to these things. I would mix whatever I liked and eat without a second thought. But as time went on, I began to notice small signs. Sometimes it was a bit of stomach discomfort. Other times it was just not feeling as vibrant after a meal. These were subtle hints from my body, telling me that maybe I should pay a bit more attention to how I combined my foods. It wasn't until a doctor friend explained the reasoning behind these reactions that I started to piece it all together. I remember one afternoon sitting on the back porch with my neighbor, a spry lady in her late 70s with a sparkle in her eye, talking about the little quirks of aging. She mentioned that when she first started avoiding certain food combinations, she felt like a new person, less bloated, more energetic, and just overall lighter in spirit. Her story wasn't about any grand miracle, but rather a series of small, thoughtful choices that added up over time. That's the beauty of old age wisdom. It's not about making drastic changes, but rather paying attention to the little details that make a big difference in our daily lives. Let me be clear, I'm not saying you should stop enjoying your favorite foods. Each one has its own place and time, and sometimes we need to enjoy them together. What I'm suggesting is a bit of mindfulness. For instance, if you love a fresh salad with cucumbers, tomatoes, dairy, and onions all mixed in, maybe try having a lighter version of that meal on days when your stomach might be more sensitive. A little tweak here and there, like keeping cucumbers separate from tomatoes, can sometimes save you from a day of discomfort. It's like when you're planning a journey. Sometimes a small detour makes all the difference in enjoying the ride. One way I like to think about this is to imagine our bodies as gardens. Each food we eat is like a seed, and the way we combine them can either help them grow strong or cause them to falter. When I learned about these combinations from that doctor friend, it felt like someone had given me a secret key to making my own garden flourish. I started experimenting eating cucumbers on their own or with foods that are known to be gentle on the stomach, like a sprinkle of salt or a drizzle of lemon, which enhances their natural flavor without causing any fuss. I discovered that by giving each ingredient its own time and space, I could enjoy the full benefits of my meals without any unwanted surprises later on. I've always believed that wisdom doesn't come overnight. It's the result of many years of trial, error, and careful listening to the quiet signals our bodies send us. What I share today is not about strict rules, but about learning to be gentle with ourselves. When you're older, every little bit of care counts. It's about embracing a balanced approach to living, one that respects both the natural world and our own inner needs. We might not have the same strength we once did, but we have something just as valuable: the knowledge of what makes us feel good and what doesn't. I also want to touch on the fact that every person is different. Some may have no trouble mixing these foods, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're like me and have noticed that certain combinations don't sit well, it might be worth taking a closer look at your meals. Sometimes it's the simplest adjustments that lead to the best results. It's not about following strict rules handed down by someone else, but about tuning into your own body's signals and treating yourself with the kindness you deserve. Over time, I've come to see that there's a certain beauty in simplicity. Our modern world is filled with complex diets, fancy foods, and the pressure to try the latest health trend. But often, the best advice comes from the past-told wisdom passed down from one generation to the next. This isn't about fear-mongering or strict do's and don'ts. It's about respecting the natural flow of our bodies and making small, thoughtful choices that help us feel our best. By being mindful of things like how we mix our foods, we can avoid unnecessary discomfort and enjoy our meals with a sense of calm and satisfaction. Think of it this way: every meal is an opportunity to nourish not just our bodies, but also our souls. When we take the time to understand what works for us, we create a little space for peace in our busy lives. I've seen many of my friends and neighbors find joy in these simple adjustments: a bit less discomfort here, a touch more energy there. It's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable lessons come from paying attention to the small details. The doctor's warning about cucumbers isn't just about food. It's about caring for yourself in a way that honors the wisdom of your own body. In the end, the goal is to feel good and live well. We all have our own unique recipes for a healthy life, and there's no one-size-fits-all answer. But if there's one piece of advice that I hope you take with you today, it's this: be kind to yourself and listen to what your body is telling you. Sometimes, it's not about following every new trend or sticking to every rule. It's about finding that balance that lets you enjoy life's simple pleasures without any extra discomfort. So, next time you're preparing a meal, take a moment to consider what you're mixing together. If you're a fan of cucumbers, you might try enjoying them on their own or pairing them with foods that complement their refreshing nature rather than overpower it. And if you ever feel a bit off after eating, remember that it might just be your body's way of telling you to adjust a little bit here or there. With age comes wisdom, and sometimes that wisdom is as simple as knowing which food combinations work best for you. As I wrap up this little chat, I hope you feel a bit more informed and perhaps even inspired to pay closer attention to the details of your daily meals. It's these small choices that add up to a healthier, happier life. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I hope that what I've shared today helps you enjoy your meals in a way that feels good for both your body and soul. Take care, and remember to be gentle with yourself after all. Our journey through life is best enjoyed one mindful bite at a time.